Hi everyone. We're going to wait a minute for folks to join us. For now, feel free to share your name, your role, and where you're joining us from today in the chat box that you can find on the screen for you. And we'd love to know who's joining us today. Hey there, Susan. Welcome. Hello, Lisa. That's good. I can see Braun typing there. And Ethan. All right, well, welcome to today's webinar, all about solving the field service skills gap, empowering growth with the right tools and talent. We're really excited to have you join us today, and we certainly know that hiring and keeping great field staff is a top concern for most of you. And today we'll show how the right technology can really help bridge that gap. So moving on, a little bit of housekeeping to cover first off. Today's session will run for about 45 minutes. We'll try and leave as plenty much time for Q&A because that's always very popular. We are recording the webinar and we'll send the replay in case you miss anything or you need to go off into a meeting or we may overrun. That has a tendency to happen, especially in the Q&A section. And on Q&A, please drop your questions into the chat at any time. We'll have a live Q&A near the end and would love to hear from you. Also, what we do love to do as well is to have a little special something for you at the end of the webinar. So please stay tuned to the very end and you'll gain access to our recently released 2025 Outlet Trades Report via a special QR code. So that will be available for you. Okay, so to welcome everyone to the webinar today, I'm Nat from the field marketing team here at Simpro, and I'll be moderating today's session. Joining me today are two of our in-house experts, Alicia Yap from our product team and Shane Rhodes from our sales engineering team. They'll basically be guiding us through the biggest field service challenges we're seeing and how Simpro is helping customers overcome them with smart tools and smarter team strategies. Alicia and Shane, really glad and happy to have you here today. Did you want to share a little bit about yourselves before we dive in? I'll throw it to Alicia first.
Hi, I'm glad to be here. I'm Alicia. I have over 5 years of experience in the tech industry, starting off as a business analyst, where I honed my skills in understanding stakeholder needs and making data-driven decisions. For the past 2 years, I've been working as a product manager on the mobile team, focusing on delivering user-centric solutions that align with business goals. I'm especially passionate about engaging with users to understand their workflows and using those insights to guide strategic product decision. And just handing over to Shane.
Thanks, Alicia.
Thanks a lot, Alicia. Hi, everybody. So I've been with Simpro now for 6 years. Previously, I was in the implementation side of the business. So when a new customer would sign up with Simpro, I would go out, work with that customer, get the software configured, get the business live, get them using the software. So I've now moved over into the sales team to particularly help them provide our opportunities or new customers with the suitable solutions from Simpro. And today, those are some things that we're going to discuss today is what new opportunities are in the software and even for prospective customers of Simpro today.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shane and Alicia. Welcome. Okay, so jumping on, we'll give just a slight overview of what we're covering today and then we'll kick off. So the challenge and some insightful stats we're seeing across FSM industry in relation to the lack of required skills and labour shortage. Part one will focus on solving the skills gap and smarter tools across workforce planning, such as your route optimization, dispatch management, predictive maintenance, and asset service management, which we know are all very big topics in industry. And part two will dive into the human side, essential to building obviously a high performing team trainee, including tips on training and onboarding. And I think Shane just mentioned his background as an IC as well as a sales engineer, so that'll come in handy for that one. And what with Alicia's skill across mobile as well as premium, we'll go into technology-enabled communications for that section as well. And lastly, some time to take some questions for the audience as well. So, I mean, overall, let's start by setting the stage here with the challenge. So 64% of field service leaders say a lack of skills and knowledge is their top concern, and low performing technicians can cost up to 67% more than your best ones. So the talent pool is shrinking globally, we know that, and many companies are struggling to fill roles with qualified people. To make things more difficult as well, the slow adoption of technology has left a lot of teams with the efficiency gains that could offset that gap. And that's what really we're here to explore today. So how can we really move forward when people are hard to find and time is even harder to spare? And that's what we're here to obviously unpack today. So firstly, solving the skills gap with smarter tools. Let's start with a common challenge that we find across route optimization. So whether it's unpredictable traffic patterns, last minute job changes, or just inefficient routes, this adds up to lost time and rise in costs. Now, Shane, how is Simpro helping teams solve this in a smarter way?
Well, firstly, within Simpro itself, we already have some tools to help customers actually manage their route optimization, but ultimately also manage the efficiency of their employees on the ground, because obviously we don't want to see them idle. We don't want them to turn up to sites and that's not a job that they can go and do. So we're just wasting time, wasting money, and ultimately driving up our overhead costs. So within Simpro, we've got some tools with that can help people decide on where to put the people, who the most available person is, also help them make decisions on the right skill sets as well. So we can also manage that at the job level. And then secondly, now with the invent of AI, I think AI has probably been around for a little while, but I guess more off-the-shelf AI options too. That's also another way that customers are also dealing with it as well.
Exciting. Are you able to share any kind of specific use case or customer example that may have some measurable results we can share with people today?
Definitely. So I did work with a customer to put together an AI process to do all of their scheduling. So they do a lot of maintenance works. This company is specifically in the landscaping part of the world, and so they do a lot of residential and commercial grooming of the grass and the hedges and all that kind of stuff. So they have teams that they schedule, they have individuals that they schedule, they have locations that they schedule, and that previously was done literally on a calendar, spending 20-30 hours before the month starts, and they would plan out the entire month for all their scheduled works and then kind of fit their project works into those gaps. And what we did was we worked with a partner called Actualize to actually put together a solution using an AI tool that then could profile the employees and profile the job types, the locations, and it actually would then go in there and do the scheduling automatically into Simpro using an API integration and using an AI to actually determine the right people to actually go to those jobs. As well as obviously we would have to deal with some changes. So new employees come in, new people go on leave. It also manages that as well. So it was a pretty cool tool, and it meant that person who previously spent 20-30 hours at the start of each month putting that together now could spend their time on doing other things basically.
Yeah, massive cost saving there for the company. Thank you for sharing that.
All right.
Just hop on now over to dispatch management. When a tech calls in sick or a customer cancels, schedules get messy pretty fast. So, Alicia, what are we seeing customers do to automate and stabilize dispatch at the moment?
Yeah, at the moment, Simpro Mobile, it enhances the routing optimization part that Shane was talking about just now. The app, it would help simplify dispatch management by making it easy for your office and field staff to be in sync. So when a schedule change throughout the day, as they often do, schedulers can quickly reassign, update jobs, and then the technicians, on the other hand, they would get an update on their app. It's either push notifications of the updated schedule instantly on their mobile phone, or if it's set up, they would also be able to get emails, that sort of things. And your field staff can get real-time job updates complete with customer details, their routes, their directions, so they know exactly what they're walking into. So there's no more chasing down the information or dealing with delays. And you could also see where your team is in the field, so their location, how long they're spending on each job, which helps with smarter scheduling and routing as well. So looping back to the route optimization that Shane was talking about. And everything's handled digitally, which is a very a bonus in this. All the timesheets, job notes, photos, customer signatures. There's no more paperwork to bring back to the office at the end of the day, and it helps keeping the entire workflow run smoothly, and it also gives you a better visibility and control over your operations.
Wow, that's jam-packed. Fantastic. So are you able to share any insights on the product roadmap? I know that obviously being a product manager, everyone's kind of keen to know the insights of that for dispatch management.
We do have a planned feature. So great question. We do have a planned feature on our roadmap for adding banner alerts for technicians. So once for example, a gate code has been updated for that particular site, today the admins, they might need to ring up the technicians, or they might need to send an email or send a message and say, hey, this is the updated gate code. Or if there's any site or customer specific information that's been set up by the admin, it is often hidden within notes, or just hidden somewhere under the 8 notes section that we have. And with this alerts, it will automatically display when a technician opens up a job in the mobile app, and it will reduce the need for follow-up phone calls, messages after reschedules. And with this feature, our goal is to help improve communications and job readiness in the field.
Okay. Can I be cheeky enough to ask the release date for that, or something you can't share?
It is still in the planned stage. So all our latest updates would be on the product portal. So once we have moved past the planned stage, and when the project is in development, we would definitely update on the product portal, and everyone that's interested or have voted on the feature would get an update on their emails.
Exciting. And I know we've got some more on the product portal a bit later on, so I won't overshare on that, but I know that you've got something else on that later. Thanks, Alicia. So yeah, let's dive into proactive, and let's dive into obviously predictive maintenance. I think we're on now, aren't we, guys? So it's all about being proactive and not reactive with predictive maintenance. So we know downtime kills productivity. Shane, how can field teams use data and maybe even AI to stay ahead of the game?
Well, at the moment in Simpro itself, we do have already a maintenance planner tool, which really assists with the predictive maintenance. I don't want to steal all of Alicia's thunder on this one, because I believe she's going to talk a bit about the new release of what we've got coming into the maintenance planner functionality of the software. But with that tool, it does allow us to already monthly, in terms of me managing my resources. So going back to like a route optimization and just also employee efficiency, that planning tool allows us to know month to month, week to week, day to day, what kind of predictive maintenance we actually have to go out there and perform for our customers. Now, with the new functionality, we can also now help manage the whole defect life cycle, because obviously there's going to be scenarios where a piece of equipment is perfect. We don't need to do anything. We just go out there and perform the yearly maintenance or the 6 monthly maintenance, whatever the frequency is. But then there are going to be situations where it's faulty and now it's broken. So with that scenario there, the maintenance planner is now going to be improving the capability of actually tracking the whole life cycle from the defect breakdown, and then also improve our reporting week, where now we can kind of get ahead of the game, as opposed to only finding out that issue on that predictive maintenance. We can now start reporting on those issues and potentially increasing when we need to actually go out there and visit that site, and actually prevent that issue from occurring over and over again, and turning it into more of a reactive scenario as opposed to a predictive or a proactive scenario for ourselves.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you very much. All right, and I think we're on to now asset service management. So let's dive into how Simpro helps field teams manage complexity and improve those fixed rates. Alicia, when you're thinking about managing thousands of assets, how do you make sense of it all in real time?
Yeah, technicians could definitely use Simpro Mobile. In this scenario, it would be good to use the mobile app to manage a large volume of assets on site because it would keep everything organized and easy to track in real time. So the technicians can use the app to quickly view, update, or add asset details such as their test results or adding photos directly from their mobile device. They are also able to scan QR codes or barcodes to instantly pull up the right assets. So it helps when, there are thousands of assets and you would be spending a lot of time searching for that particular asset. So it's even one step before the job actually starts. And it would also reduce errors, saving time, especially on large sites as well. And any work done, like testings, repairs, or replacements, it could be logged right away. So the office would have the latest records without needing to chase down paperwork later on. So it's linking back to what we've discussed previously as well. It's all reducing the paperwork and reducing the time spent to chase down informations, the additional communications or back and forth that's required. And it also makes recurring maintenance a lot easier since you can set schedules and have your team follow workflows and compliance check through the app. So there are pre-audits, post-audits in the app as well. And this means that nothing would get missed. Everything is properly documented, which is, a big win for the audit trail and service quality.
Great stuff. And obviously, I always have to ask a little bit of a quick cheeky question here, but are you able to share anything on the latest defect management feature that is currently in beta with the audience today?
Definitely. Defect management, as Nelly and Shane, you were saying, it's our latest addition to the asset maintenance area in Simpro. If you're using Simpro Premium with Maintenance Planner, there is now a dedicated defect management tab that gives you a clear, traceable workflow for handling asset issues. So once the technicians identify and log defects on the spot, they are able to attach photos to it and adding test results to create a complete and accurate record from the mobile app. So every defect can be traced with a full audit trail. We are able to capture all the status updates, all the requotes, as well as, if a resolution has been reached, you would also know, what's been done and what still needs attention. On mobile's end, once a defect is addressed, the technicians can mark it as rectified directly from Simpro Mobile. So that's a big thing. And helping to keep the records up to date without, again, needing to return to the office, sign on the paperwork and all that. And this integration would help ensure that the asset issues are well documented and resolved efficiently. And this would also provide clear visibility across both the field and office teams. And as you mentioned just now, so this feature is currently in beta and it has been released to 5 customers for the initial use. We plan to make it available to other customers once we've gathered enough feedback. And if there is, any improvements that has been identified, we would like to address that before we actually make it available to the other customers.
Exciting. Watch that product portal inbox go crazy now. You've spoken about that. Okay, so yeah, now let's shift gears a bit here. Technology is critical, but it's people who really power the work. So in field service, technicians we know often work independently with minimal direct supervision and really high pressured expectations. So that's something I really want to kind of like delve in today with you both. How can businesses really keep what we're putting at the back of our mind here is people engaged, supported and retained Firstly, Shane, in your opinion, how does a structured training program and communication tools improve the human side of the workforce gap?
Well, with Simpro, obviously Simpro being a software, it's not just the software, it is also building processes and workflows within the business. And what I've seen in my time as an implementation consultant, and even now moving into the sales side, those are primarily a lot of the challenges that businesses are experiencing. So one of the advantages then with utilizing a software like Simpro is as a business, you can put together standardized processes for a lot of the works that you do. And so when you're looking at employing new people, they are, what we see in the marketplace too is employees are looking for a little bit more structure for how they perform their works, because otherwise it becomes a very admin heavy process. It means that I'm constantly getting harassed from the office. I've got to come to the office to drop off paperwork. And so it becomes a very time consuming portion as a technician and someone who I want on the road working as much as possible so I can recover their costs and obviously not drive up my overhead costs as well. So that's what I've seen in the real world kind of examples as to what people on the ground are looking for, but also what businesses are also looking for too, that system that can help support those processes and ultimately deliver what they want to do as a business.
Interesting. And is there any kind of like set structure with these programs dependent on, I imagine it's the number of technicians, the complexity of maybe the workflow, and that's something that, does Simpro go into detail on how does that element all work? I know as your background is IC.
Definitely, yeah. So there's always challenges. There's no perfect employee. There's no perfect necessarily software either. But Simpro is a very customizable software where you can build the workflows that you want. And in many ways, it does come down to the individuals as well. I've worked with some people who think that like it's a bit of a big brother tool, and so they're not too happy. They feel like everyone's trying to watch them. But in time, once they realize what Simpro is actually really trying to do, it's actually trying to help them do their job ultimately at the end of the day. So those programs that, their training processes, all the workflows that we put together, we can put it together to more so support each individual and what expectations they want from a process as well. But at the same time, as a business, the business needs to determine, or the business owners need to determine, where they want to take their own business to and kind of drive the expectations and those processes as well. And again, we can adapt to that as well. So you kind of got two stakeholders there, the business owners, and then you've got the technicians, and there can be sometimes a bit of conflict there, but ultimately Simpro is there to try to bring them together as opposed to drive them apart. So that's the best way to look at it, I would say.
Yeah, bridging that gap again in more ways than one. Thanks, Shane.
Yeah.
And for Alicia, can you maybe elaborate more on the mobile app and Simpro's AI mobile assist in this area?
Yeah, definitely. To add on to what Shane was saying, Simpro Mobile could support employee engagement by making their day-to-day tasks more efficient, transparent, and connected for the whole business. With everything the technicians need accessible on their mobile device, their job details, the asset information, timesheet, and forms, the technicians can actually focus more on the work itself and less on paperwork or waiting for updates from the office. It also gives employees more ownership over their work. They can log notes, capture photos, track time, mark jobs as complete, all in real time. So, this level of autonomy and clarity could reduce frustration. It could also build trust and help employees feel more valued and in control of their workload. And having that real time communication, it definitely helps to play a big role in creating a more responsive and supporting work environment as well. No one likes, waiting around for information for like 2 hours before they could start their work on site. So having that real-time communication is definitely a big thing. And it's something that we're looking to, that's something that we're focusing on as well as part of the mobile app. And when something goes wrong, or if a question does come up, the technicians could flag it straight away and the office could jump in to help. So there's no delays, no guesswork. And it also helps the technicians feel heard and supported as part of the bigger picture. And to build on that, we are also planning to bring the product portal to Simpro Mobile. So at the moment, only admins can submit or vote on a feature suggestion through Simpro Premium. But we know that technicians are the ones that are using the app every day, and we want their input. Their input are really important to us. So with this new feature, technicians will be able to submit their ideas or vote on improvements directly from their mobile app. So it would make it easier for their voices to be heard and to shape the tools that they use every day.
No, that's fantastic. And I know, as obviously Shane was saying earlier, how important it is to bridge the gap between the two and, necessarily like review all stakeholders in the mix. So that's great that the product portal will be available for anyone on mobile as well. So great. Is there anything else you can share in terms of the AI powered element of mobile assists for the future and what that may look like?
Yeah. We are exploring AI-powered mobile assistants for the future. So think of features that could help getting information with a voice command, or suggest next steps based on similar jobs, or flag potential issues before they become real problems. What we're focusing on, it's all about making the job easier, reducing back and forth, and giving technicians the confidence and tools to work more efficiently on their own. Um, we have just released the work completed notes AI to everyone. I think it was the latest mobile release of 13.7.1. So with that AI functionality, the technicians, they no longer need to spend hours writing their work completed notes. They are able to generate it automatically using their job details, the job descriptions, as well as site information. If they choose to rewrite, if they already have some of the details in the bullet points, and they would have the option to rewrite it as well. So the AI could help in rewriting, rephrasing the sentences better. So, this would also reduce the time that admins would spend in rewriting some of the things that that the technicians have written and might not be super customer facing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely a leg up. I feel like AI is kind of like been that tool for everyone in everyone's day job, but it's really great to hear how it works for our customers. So fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so now we're going, everyone, to move on to Q&A session, our favorite part of any webinar, to be honest, so we can hear openly from you guys and have a bit of a chat. So opening up for questions. We've had some great ones coming in, and please keep them coming, and hopefully we'll get to them all. If we can't, we certainly will have our experts in the organisation kind of respond to you within a time period. So don't worry, please chuck them in. Don't be fearful if there's too many in there that we won't get to. So first one up, what do we believe is the secret sauce to combine technology and people to build a high-performing field workforce? I can throw that one to the both of you, actually.
Secret sauce, that's interesting. Tomato sauce, maybe? No. From my experience in the training implementation side of the business, I don't know if there's any particular secret sauce, but as I mentioned earlier, Simpro is a software that's going to help support businesses and also support the technicians as well. And to the point that Alicia had raised there with the AI and what we're trying to do to actually improve those entire processes and continuously improve them, that's really probably the most secret sauce to consider, is that we want to bring the business owners and the technicians together, because a well-oiled machine or well-oiled team actually performs better outcomes. And so that's really what Simpro is going to be driving as a business. So I suppose in your business. So in relation to the secret sauce, I don't know if there's anything particularly secret. I think it's just more so about utilizing the tools that are available for yourself. Change management can be a difficult thing sometimes. So, when we look at Simpro and we move over to a new product or a new process, it can be a challenge to kind of adapt to those new processes. And that's where, in many ways, trying to lean on some of the actual functionality or tools that you have in front of you is really why you're making those next steps. So I've worked with customers that struggle to get off spreadsheets just because it's a habit thing. And then over time, someone decides, no more spreadsheets, ban the spreadsheets, and then people start using Simpro for doing all their estimating, and then eventually realize, actually, yeah, this is just like doing it with a spreadsheet. It's just managing those change management. So I think having the right process to bring in change, and then ultimately, leaning on the support that you have, say, with Simpro, with our professional services team and our implementation team and things like that, to keep that process going and ultimately get to the outcome that you're looking for in the business, basically.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what Microsoft were thinking when they came up with Excel years ago, but we all can't kick the habit, can we? But not here in Simpro. We do actually use Google, so G Sheets all the way. And Alicia, is there anything to add to that one?
Yeah, and yeah, just to add on to what Shane was saying, mobile tools, it's definitely putting, the right information in the right hands and in real time as well. And another thing to add on is the feedback loops. So, it is also important in the middle of all this change management. It is also important that feedbacks are being heard. So the technicians or the staff, they would feel heard, they will feel supported and valued throughout this change. And they would be more willing to try and to sort of try the new process, try new workflow, as well as, all the training that's being involved. It might be overwhelming. So this and having that whole thing managed, it's really important, I would say, in this scenario.
I'd say definitely feedback loops are essential, and I suppose that ability to pivot and be flexible, take on feedback and refine and have that be a part of, as you said, Shane, that change management piece, which is so important. Question. How can FSM businesses start integrating AI and automation if they're still relying on manual systems?
I can give some examples on that myself, mainly because I've worked with some businesses who have gone down that road already. In many ways, it can start today for yourself. So Simpro already has a very sophisticated API tool where you can build a lot of AI integrations into Simpro. Probably the main consideration there is that we are also exploring AI capabilities within our own software. So in time, some of those processes potentially would be built into Simpro itself. But if you're kind of an impatient individual and we want a solution today, we've got a lot of integration partners, automation, actualization. They're doing a lot of really cool things with AI at the moment. So that's the partner that I worked with to set up that company that did the automated scheduling for them. We've also got some customers that are looking at, because we've got our defect management process now, also utilizing that for doing more so predictive and kind of proactive maintenance, as opposed to just doing the standard 6 monthly recurring jobs. It actually can now look at the historical information and make some decision making, saying that we should do this actual asset at, like, say, 3 monthly visits as opposed to 6 monthly visits. And then also that can also lead to things like telling the customer, we would suggest, replacing that unit and getting a new unit, because otherwise it's going to cost you more continuously servicing a faulty unit, basically. So yeah, so you can definitely explore it already today if that's the direction you want to go. It's just going to come down to, I suppose, when that process starts for yourself, really.
And on that, I have to ask, Shane, when is that time? When is it an indication? I mean, do we see as automation as your foundation, and then you build upon that over a certain time once you've got your workflows done and sorted? Like when is
yeah,
that?
I think from what I've seen, where it works really well is some businesses look at it as trying to be forward thinking, and they want a solution for where they believe they're going to be, and then they invest a lot of time and money into something, and then the business doesn't get to that stage, and they've kind of wasted that time on that. Where I've seen it work a bit better is they've already got a problem today and they're trying to solve that problem today. That's where it works really well, because we already know we have an issue. We need to find a really good solution. We want to be more efficient with our time, and AI definitely is a tool that can help a lot with that. So I would say if there are issues we're having today that we are looking for good solutions with, and we can see AI as a potential solution for us, then that's the time to, I guess, kick that process off. If it's more an aspirational position to be in, the only downfall with that is things can change. And so you build a process for where you think you're going to be in a year's time or 6 months, and then the whole process change, and now that tool is not actually useful, and we wasted our time and investment in that tool, basically.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great answer, actually. Yeah, thank you for that. Alicia, did you have anything else to share on that one?
Yeah, just on the manual side as well. So for the companies or the businesses that are, heavily relying on the manual processes, I would say, if you're looking to, automate some of your processes, look at the smaller task first. So look at the task that both the field and the office teams handle every day, the smaller ones, such as scheduling jobs, managing assets, collecting job details, or generating reports. So these are often repetitive and prone to human error. So it would make it ideal for automation. So rather than overhaul on everything, start with small risk, high impact tasks. And for example, you could use Simpro to automate your basic scheduling or dispatching, setting up reminders, notifications to be triggered automatically through certain actions. So, for instance, an email could be sent to the admin when a job was being completed by the technician, or generating reports automatically at the end of the month. And this would, as time goes, this would definitely help building confidence and would create quick wins for the organizations that rely heavily on the manual processes. So once they see that, this change is actually good, and it's actually boosting the productivity, the efficiency, they would be more adaptive to the changes.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, makes sense. Focus on what's repetitive and where you get the bigger wins, definitely. What else we have here? How long does it typically take for businesses to start seeing ROI? That's a good one after implementing automation tools like Simpro.
It can vary from what I've seen. And it really comes down to, I suppose, that change management piece. So sometimes some businesses take a little longer to really get into a rhythm with Simpro and really get the efficiencies that they can get out of the system. And that's purely coming down to, a lot of times I've seen the change management piece. But where I've seen it, if it's done well, I would say within 6 months you start to get a return on your investment, and that's because people in the field getting better with using the mobile apps. People in the office are getting better with actually translating the information that comes through from the field, being more efficient with invoicing, being more efficient with booking jobs, managing your purchase orders and your supplier invoicing and costings and stuff like that too. And then once you get a bit of data in there for your reporting as well, then you can start making a few more informed decisions as well about how you're performing as a business and what type of work makes sense for us to do as a business, as opposed to just, taking phone calls and taking all kinds of jobs. We kind of quickly find out which companies or customers we actually make better money with, or what types of works we're better at and where we make our money more. And so then we start more so directing our efforts to those types of jobs and really getting more outcomes out of the business and ultimately out of a software like Simpro. But as I said, I've seen it within 6 months, but it can take a little longer depending on that kind of whole change management within the business.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, and what are some quick wins for organizations just beginning their digital transformation journey?
I'll say this quick wins, it typically revolves around, low risk and high impact improvements that would streamline their operating systems, their operations, without needing major changes upfront. So Simpro already helps many field service businesses move away from spreadsheets, paper forms, and manual data entry. And some of the, I would say, instant quick wins would be, first of all, automate scheduling and dispatch. So instead of using whiteboards or spreadsheets, you could change to digital scheduling systems. So Simpro, for example, lets you assign jobs based on availability, your location, or your technician's skill set. And the quick impact here would be less time spent on scheduling and better use of field resources and definitely fewer delays. And I would say another one, another instant quick win would be on the Simpro mobile side. The mobile app would be able to give the field technicians access to real-time job details, the latest updates, as well as notes. So this would remove the need for constant phone calls or just manual briefings. And the quick impact here would be better communication, reduce scheduling confusion when it happens, and quicker responses to changes as a whole. And I'll say the last point that I could think of is the technicians, they are able to use the mobile tools to log hours on site and track the travel time as well as allocate time to specific jobs. All of this would help to improve your payroll accuracy as well as your job costing. So I would say those are the three sort of quick wins that the companies could see right away.
Perfect. I think that was a very comprehensive answer there, Alicia. Thanks very much. Jane, anything more to add? That was a good one.
Me? To support Alicia's point, what it comes down to is removing a lot of the paperwork, a lot of the back and forth, and it's being able to connect the teams better, basically. So even if they do need to communicate, you can still use the field application to do that, where you can change the status on the job. That might email somebody in the office, so you can essentially digitize the entire workflow for yourself, as opposed to relying on pieces of paper that come back to the office with spilled coffee, tomato sauce, all kinds of things I've heard that come on those things. Now it's a full digital process. And one part with the field app too is everybody loves their phone, so they really look after that better than the piece of paper that they work off.
Yeah. I think you're a food man, because secret sauce was mentioned. You've mentioned ketchup and you just put it in your answer. And we can take a couple of more questions here. There might be some quick answers. Where are new release notes communicated to customers so that they can see what new features are being released?
I'm not sure, Alicia, do you want to answer that one?
I'm pretty sure it's on the help guide. So when you're in the help guide link, you would be able to see a release notes section. And that is both the premium release notes as well as the mobile ones.
Beautiful. I thought that was
I was going to say the same thing there too. And I think you can even just search release notes and it will take you to the release notes sections as well.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. And is it possible to create standardized check sheets for reoccurring jobs like 6-month services and have these saved in the Simpro app so that technicians can access them on site and upload them live for admin to review in real time?
So there is a few ways you can do that in Simpro, but the primary way to do that is using an asset. So probably the question to ask there as a follow-up question is are we talking specifically about an asset like a piece of equipment? So with an asset, you do have the ability to put checklist items against that asset record in Simpro. And then you can also manage that checklist as well, depending on the visits that you're taking. So if we use the maintenance planner feature, I can change the checklist for a 6-monthly visit to, like, say, a yearly visit, because I might require a few different checks on those visits. So that's how the process would work. In the question there, you also said, like, coming back to the office for an approval and things like that. So one thing to consider there is that the data would be captured from the field, and then at any time in the office, they can review and see those checklists. The technicians could update a status on the job that says, review the job type thing, and then someone in the office can go through and check those asset information. But in terms of it being, like, say, more of a form process where they receive an email with a form with the checklist and the person approves the form, that's not really how the asset functionality works. It's more so within the whole system itself and using the mobility app and things like that.
Okay. Thank you for that, Shane. Appreciate it. Okay, guys. Well, that's the end of the Q&A session. Thanks very much for all the questions. Like I said, if we didn't have time to get round to them, we certainly will respond via email to make sure all your answers, you get all your answers there. So I want to say thanks again to the expert speakers and all of you for joining today. We've learned a few great things today, mostly that in order to solve the skill gap, ultimately you don't just need more people. You need smarter systems and better support for the people you already have. And as promised, if you want to dive deeper into how Simpro helps with scheduling, workforce productivity and smarter job management, we have a QR code just here on the screen that you can see that can bring you directly to our 2025 trades report, packed with lots of interesting data and insights for field workforce trends. So please, I encourage you to certainly do that. And in addition, we also encourage you to book a personalised demo with our team so we can actually help you solve some of these challenges and see what Simpro looks like customised to your business. As Shane pointed out clearly, it's very important to get all stakeholders in a room and get nitty gritty and really find out how to get those efficiencies in place to streamline processes for your business. Also stay tuned in your inboxes as well, as we'll be sending you all this info in the follow-up email and the recording of the webinar. And I guess with that, thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.